Good news, everyone! The Steam sales have begun. It is the 11th of July 2013, and in this RedGamingTech.com video, we're going to be taking a look at the best deals for the next 24 or so hours. So, today's deals are somewhat odd, actually. I actually expected a slightly better first day. I wouldn't say they're abysmal, but personally speaking, I have seen better first days on the Steam Summer Sale. With that said, the first title that we're going to be talking about would be BioShock Infinite. It has been substantially covered on this channel and of course is very well received by critics and gamers alike. It does have a few issues that I'm going to talk about in a moment, however it is currently 50% off, or if you want the Great British Pounds version that would be about £17.49. So in my personal opinion it is an absolutely fantastic title. I personally would highly recommend this game. I would, however, say that it does have a couple of small issues, mostly revolving around combat. The weapons are kind of what you expect, and the powers aren't exactly amazing in certain areas either. However, the storytelling, the graphics and everything else are really phenomenal, and I would highly encourage I would highly encourage you guys to check this one out. It is pretty damn awesome. Next one, Don't Starve. It's currently 40% off, which brings it to £7.19. It's actually a pretty damn good price for the game. This is one of those titles that's really hard to explain. I have covered this on a first impressions video, and I'd recommend you check it out. It's going to be one of those titles you either absolutely love, or you're really not into whatsoever. Personally, I quite like this game, to say the least. It allows you to fashion items and basically survive in the wilderness and pretty much better your odds. If you're a fan of, you know, Survivor Man or Bear Grylls or whatever, it's going to be kind of a bit like that. You can make your own fires, trap animals, and a lot of other stuff. It's kind of dark and has kind of a Tim Burton feels to it, actually. I would actually really encourage you to check this game out. It's really fun. As I said, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have done a first impressions of it, so I'd recommend you check it out. Personally, I think that if you've been interested in it, go for it. Pick up the game. It's probably not going to get much cheaper for a while. Next title, and this one is, I can't even describe to you how odd this game is. Antichamber. I've actually covered this one in a first impressions as well. This game is extraordinarily strange. It is very similar to Portal and has a lot of puzzle mechanics. As a warning, it is also one of those games that is ridiculously bright and ridiculously colourful. And the main colours in the game are actually white, purple, and even some blues and greens. It's really kind of a pastel shades and actually looks pretty awesome. It's actually not that long of a game, but the thing of it is it's going to take you a while to figure it out in terms of what the hell to do with the puzzles. It is one of those titles that will definitely mess with your brain in terms of depth perception, in terms of your understanding of spatial awareness as well. I'd actually really encourage you to check this one out, particularly if you're fans of games like Portal and so on. Interestingly enough, I'm not that big of a Portal fan. I know I'm probably getting like people gathering their pitchforks about now. However, interestingly, I really did quite like this title. I will warn you, it is possibly one of those games, however, that may make you feel a bit sick or nauseous while playing. Regardless, I would highly recommend you check it out. It is available at a rather astounding 66% off, which brings it to about £5 Great British Pounds. I'd really recommend it. Next one, Left 4 Dead 2. This title doesn't really need that much of an introduction. It is currently available 75% off, or £3.74 if you are in the UK. This title is pretty damn cool. It's based on the Source engine, although it has been heavily modified, and of course is the sequel to the very highly successful Left 4 Dead, the original. You basically play of 1 of 4 characters, and it's pretty cool, actually. There are a ridiculous amount of scenarios. Now, I will hasten to add one point. You can tackle this game single player, but there will always be 3 other people with you. This game really comes into its own if you have more than 1 player. In other words, 2, 3 or 4 players would be ideal. This game is one of those games that you can lose a lot of sleep over. It's really addictive and really, really fun. I would actually recommend, if possible, to pick this one up with a couple of friends. This is one of those titles that's really good price and will give you hours of entertainment. So, if you've not checked it out previously, please do so now. Next one, Defiance. It's currently available for 66% off at £6.79, basically £7. I can honestly say I have not played this game. Why? Well, I actually looked at some people playing it, in other words, various first impressions reviews of my own, of other people's, and also reviews on IGN, various other websites as well, because this is one of those games that I actually saw about the TV show, and I also liked the look of on the screenshots, and I really wasn't sure about it because obviously at the time it's a full-priced game, whatever it cost, I think like 35 or whatever, and I thought to myself, really like it. Unsure if I want to pick it up, because at the time I was really against MMOs, because I didn't mind Guild Wars 2, but I just couldn't really get into it. Primarily, I'll be honest, the thing that puts me off Guild Wars 2 is the classes. I'll get into that in another video. But when I was playing Defiance, or when I saw these videos of Defiance being played, shall I say, I just automatically got put off. I've heard numerous issues with the game, primarily to do with bugs and so on, and a lot of people who bought it, they were really put off. I'm not going to tell you guys not to pick it up. It's a reasonable price. However, I would encourage you heavily to do some research on this one. I would recommend you check out quite a lot of reviews, and if you're into MMOs and you're into this style of play, you may get good mileage out of it. Otherwise, maybe not so much. I'll leave this one up to you. I know that's a bit of a cop-out. I know that's maybe not the best response in the world, but I haven't personally played it, but I know a man that has, kind of thing. Next one, and one that I definitely have played, and I'd actually kind of recommend, actually, would be none other than Call of Juarez. I've actually played this and done a first impressions review of it, so you can go ahead and check that out. It's actually kind of cool. Set in the Wild West, it does have a couple of issues, but honestly speaking, I quite like it. It has a kind of a cool feel to it. It's currently available for only 33% off, however it's only £8, so I'm fairly sure we could forgive that. It has reasonable graphics, however does have a couple of issues, primarily in that you are almost positive at the start of the game that you will be able to go over or stand on or similar certain cover, and you actually can't do that. And for me personally, after playing a more open game, so for example, say Crisis, you feel a little bit, or Far Cry even, you feel a little bit hemmed in, but the story itself is reasonable. The accuracy of the weapons is pretty cool. If you're interested in the Wild West, if you're interested in that type of era, you're really going to love this title. If you've got a passing interest, if you're I'm not sure about this one, then I'd recommend check out First Impressions first. It does give you a reasonable understanding of what the game entails and so forth. Next one, very controversial, very fun, and highly regarded, Hotline Miami. It's actually a really good price, 75% off, $174. I have seen it in various packages and so forth for around this price, but honestly speaking, we're quibbling over a mere pennies here, so it's probably not worth even speaking about. This is one of those games where, particularly if you are of the mindset of gameplay over everything else, you're going to love it. It has a lot of strategy. It is a top-down game. Really reminds you of the 8-16-bit kind of era. I'd actually really recommend you check this one out. I haven't done a first impressions of it. However, I am told by many people it is an absolutely fantastic game, and I did actually play it briefly myself But if I remember correctly, at the time there were recording issues, so I never actually got around to it. Regardless, it is a cool game, and I would recommend you check it out. It's really good price as well. So this is one of those titles that you're either going to love it or you're not going to be that fussed about it. Anyway, next one, Scribblenauts. I can honestly say I haven't played or really looked at this one. I have heard it is really well regarded and does score well in various reviews. It is one of those puzzle type of games, and with some adventure and everything else kind of thrown in there. But honestly speaking, I haven't played it. I will be totally brutally honest, this is one of those games that just didn't grab my attention on launch. It was one of those titles that every time I looked at it, I thought, this isn't my thing. I do know that it is pretty awesome from what I've heard. Metacritic is telling me it's pretty good, but I can't give you my own personal opinion. I can only say that from those people who have tried it, they've quite liked it. Personally, I've not. It just didn't grab me, and because I am actually checking these games out on RGT largely for my own money, obviously I cannot check out every single one. Lastly, Toki Tori 2+. Once again, one of those titles I haven't really played and don't know that much about, if I'm honest. It looks kind of cool. It is an indie platformer type of casual affair. I would honestly say that you might want to check this one out better. It does, however, support the Steam Workshop, which does mean that you can create your own levels, which obviously means that the title is going to last quite substantially longer. Finally, we're going to be talking about the flash deals. These are on for about another 6 hours and so from when I'm recording this. So we have Skyrim Legendary Edition, Grid 2, CSGO, Dragon Age Origins, the Complete Edition, Ultimate Collection Edition, shall I say. First of all, I'd like to point out that these are going to change far too frequently for me to update on. So check out Facebook. I will try to update when I can on the flash deals and just let you guys know about that one. If you're not sure, that's facebook.com/redgamingtech. I don't think there's anything else other to say than we may as well start with Skyrim. It is the Legendary Edition. There's not really much to say about this game that hasn't been said a million times before. It is 40% off, which makes it $17.99. Interestingly enough, I have seen this cheaper. What's that? It's cheaper than the Steam Summer Sales? Impossible, I hear you cry. Not so, I would argue back. If you go to amazon.co.uk, then you can actually pick this up a little bit cheaper. We're talking marginal here, but hey, I'd rather pay less than what I would pay the same. I'm not sure if this does include the shipping fee, however. I'm assuming it does, but you can pick up the Legendary Edition on PC DVD for $15. Of course, that will activate just dandily on Steam, so you're not really losing anything, so you can check that one out. I don't think there's much to say about Skyrim. It has more mods for it than pretty much any game out there. It is ridiculous. It is also containing the Dragonborn as well as Dawnguard DLCs as well as Hearthfire, but I don't really think anyone gives a shit about Hearthfire. Dragonborn, however, is amazing, and particularly if you're a fan of Elder Scrolls 3, you're going to really like Dragonborn DLC because you get to see some really, really cool areas from the same parts of the game. Anyway, next is Grid 2. This is one of those games I just haven't played. I can tell you that it does score extremely well. Personally speaking, I'm not really into racing games. I can only tell you that people I know who are into racing games like the game, but that doesn't really give you many of my own personal opinions. Sorry, once again, there are tons of games on sale. I cannot play them all. Next, CSGO. I've extensively covered the beta of this, so you can check it out. Didn't end up getting the full game. Why? Well, I was heavily into CS 1.6 and CSZ, and that was 0. And by the time that Source started to come out and become more popular, I tried to play Source, and I actually wanted to rabbit punch people every time I played it because it pissed me off. I just didn't like the direction of the engine. It felt very... I don't know the word I can describe it with just one or two words, so I'm just going to say iffy. I didn't like the way the guns handled. I didn't like the bullet mechanics, the spray and pray nature. It just felt very cut down. And I understand that games evolve, sure, but it didn't really feel like a Counter-Strike anymore. At least to me. I did play it for a while, and I just couldn't get into it. I kind of liked it at one point, and then I played Zero again, and then I thought to myself, holy crap, I much prefer this. And then I just got out of Counter-Strike for a while, because World of Warcraft basically gripped me by the balls and pulled me in, and then by that point I just couldn't be bothered to go back into it. I did start playing CSGO, and I can honestly say that I actually really enjoyed it. The weapons, in my personal opinion, did handle a hell of a lot better than Source. I just didn't end up getting the game, not because of any fault of the game, but because I just don't have the time to sink into it. Allow me to elaborate. This is one of those games that, for me, I cannot just play for 10 minutes. Because in this game, you get shot and you will die very, very, very fast. There are no health packs. There is no way to improve your armor once you've started the round. There are no ways to buy weapons after you've started the round. On most servers, anyway, we're talking about non-modded servers here. Generally speaking, you've got like 30 seconds or whatever to buy your weapons. You can pick up weapons, of course, of your fallen opponents, or your friends for that matter. But it is a very merciless game. And the reason I bring this up is because if you don't play it for a while, at least for me, let's say you're off of the game for like 3 or 4 months because other stuff gets in the way, you will suck. I will not lie, I was abysmal. I actually went from being really awesome at the game to, I'm talking playing with some really good teams online, shall I say clans, to basically being barely able to shoot an AK-47 across the room. However, it is a really cool game, and in my personal opinion, it remains one of the best true FPS experiences. If you do have the time or the will to dedicate towards an FPS, I would encourage you to go out and get it. However, if you are not one of those people who wants to sink loads of time into an FPS game, if you're one of those people who just want to play it for 10 minutes, personally, I would recommend not getting this game. Despite the fact it's really cool, I personally just can't play it for just a few minutes here and there. However, it is really cheap. It's 66% off, or about £4, so I'd recommend checking out regardless, maybe. Next, and probably one of the games that will last you the longest out of this whole selection that I mentioned today, Dragon Age Origins. This game basically features tons of DLC because it is it's the Ultimate Edition, so that's cool. Now this game will last you a hell of a long time. It's not quite, well, nowhere near as moddable as Skyrim, but in terms of pure storyline, will last you for a substantial amount of time indeed. My own personal opinion says this game is far superior to the sequel. I actually really didn't like the sequel that much at all. The original game, however, I really enjoyed, and I would recommend you check it out. It does have a few issues, primarily in class balancing, but in terms of storyline progression, in terms of the way the story is told, in terms of the way that the combat works and so on, I'd really recommend you check it out. Anyway, that's just about every single title covered. I will, of course, be going through all the deals every day, as well as all the other news that you would expect on RGT. So with that all said, hopefully you've enjoyed the video, so I say. So, bye for now.